Patriots played in their first preseason game of the year against the Giants, and while New England did lose 23-21, there was definitely a lot of good things seen on the field and certainly a couple of bad things seen as well, and for sure there's a lot to discuss. Now, before I begin talking about the game and begin analyzing, it's important to understand that this is only the first game of the preseason, which means almost everything I'm going to talk about may or may not transfer going to next week against the Panthers. The Patriots offense did play quite well today, but maybe they'll struggle against Carolina. The run defense wasn't very strong against the Giants, but maybe that's different next week. All I'm going to say is that it's only preseason and nothing is set in stone, so just keep that in mind. But with that being said, let's get into the game, and let me just say that I'm really happy that football is finally back. To start, taking a look at the offense, there were a lot of good things that occurred overall. Now, in terms of the offensive coordinator in this game, it was split between Matt Patricia and Joe Judge, with Patricia taking in the first half and Judge taking in the second half. Now, in terms of quarterbacks, Hoyer was in during the first quarter, but Bailey Zappi was put in for the rest of the game. And I'll say this about Bailey Zappi. He had a poor start in the second half and ended up throwing an albeit deflected interception, but other than that, Bailey Zappi played quite well and demonstrated what the Patriots' new offense could look like. There were a lot of good chunk play efforts seen, and Zappi made a couple of beautiful throws that were just placed perfectly and that put the Patriots in good field position. And looking at the passing game itself, let's talk about Trey Nixon, who didn't make it on the 53-man last year after being drafted in the 7th round, but he did look really good in this game. On the Patriots' first touchdown drive in the second half, Nixon actually made a really nice effort on his 36-yard grab to gain separation from the defensive back and turn to make the catch, and also made a really nice play on the defensive back on his 32-yard catch later on the drive. If he plays like this next week and maybe the week after, expect him to be a no-brainer on the 53-man. We also got a chance to see Tyquan Thornton show off his abilities in this game. He caught a nice pass from Hoyer for the touchdown after finding a way to battle through the defensive holding penalty, and Thornton also probably should have had another catch for a good yardage, but the pass would be knocked away. Thornton showed his ability to be able to gain separation with the speed and decent route running, and I am definitely hoping that we are going to see more action from him next week, seeing as his action in this game was quite limited. It's also worth noting that Christian Wilkinson and Lil Jordan Humphrey also had good performances as well. In total, it was good seeing the Patriots passing game have success in this one, though it did end up coming at the cost of the running game. Now, the running game just simply was not very good in this one, with Pierre Strong leading the way with 6 carries for 25 yards. Kevin Harris was also fed the ball 6 times, but only amassed 9 yards, though he did have a goal line touchdown. Seeing as the Patriots were having success in the new outside zone scheme that they're implementing, which stems from the scheme used in the Shanahan offense, it was disappointing to not see success in the game. I'd look for New England to focus on that going to next week and maybe see a shift in focusing game plan, with the run game seeing more action against Carolina. Now, turning to the defense, I think it's fair to say that it was definitely an up and down night for the Pats. The secondary definitely didn't have their best game, though it was nice to see Terrence Mitchell force a fumble, which would be recovered by Malcolm Butler. But other than that, the secondary just played poor. Just a lot of missed opportunities with dropped interceptions and poor coverage. Juwan James especially struggled in this one with a drop pick and was burnt for a touchdown. In terms of the D-line, solid night with a sack from Josh Uche and pressures from Anthony Jennings and Sam Roberts. Mack Wilson also showed off his speed that he was brought in for with 7 tackles, as it definitely looked like he was all over the field. But the front 7 simply failed to stop the run, which I can only hope does not become a recurring theme going into this year. I think the secondary struggles will just be a temporary thing, and we'll likely see an improved one going into next week, and likely as we move through the year. I also think that going younger and faster with the linebackers is going to be a decision that will pay off, and the group generally looks less stiff compared to last year with Hightower and Van Noy, even if the veteran presence was valuable. Now, before we end the episode, let's quickly talk about the situation with the offensive coordinator. I mentioned that there was a dual role being played, and while I don't mind seeing this role for the week, I am hoping by next week, or at least the latest against the Raiders, that there is an offensive coordinator in place. At this current moment, I don't exactly have a preference as who ends up being the offensive coordinator, though I should note that the offense had more success during Judge's time as the offensive coordinator in this game, but it needs to be decided so that Mac Jones can build a connection with his OC, and from there potentially have more success in practice, and from there the game. Other than that, though, even with the loss, it was definitely good to see the Patriots in action. People were all about how the Patriots' struggles in practice meant that they were doomed, especially their offense, but I watched 3 very good offensive drives that were heavily focused on the passing game. Yes, the running game needs work, but again, that's something that's going to hopefully be fixed going into next week. And overall, hopefully the team will just be able to take in their performance from this game and focus on what needs to be fixed either on offense or defense and go into next week and hopefully come out with more success. The Patriots are by no means doomed. They just need to figure out who their offensive coordinator is and fix certain aspects of their offense and defense. And preseason provides the perfect time to do so. But yeah, let me know what you guys think about the Patriots' first preseason game. Do you guys have any thoughts that differ from mine? Let me know in the comments below, and I'll catch you guys later in the next one. Peace out.